Today we are looking at finding the discriminant of a quadratic function. How to find the discriminant of a quadratic function. All I want to remind you is the general quadratic form. That's the general quadratic form of the quadratic function, which is given by ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. And evaluating the discriminant of the quadratic function is quite easy. All you need to do is to compare with the general form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c, and then substitute it in the formula b squared negative 4ac, which is part like a compartment of the general quadratic formula, b squared negative 4ac. So that's the formula, simply that, b squared negative 4ac. So let's look at examples that demonstrate this. Question number 1 says, a function f of x is given by f of x equal to x squared plus 5x plus 8 for all real x. This is given that f of x is equal to 0. Determine the discriminant of the quadratic function. So all we need to do is listen to what the question has to say. Since f of x is equal to x squared plus 5x plus 8 and f of x is also 0, so we can write x squared plus 5x plus 8 equal to 0. Then all you need to do is to compare to the general form ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0 and compare. And if you compare it, the coefficient of x squared in this expression is 1, so we could literally say that a is 1. And the coefficient of x is 5, so we could say that b is 5, and the constant term is a positive 8, so we could say is a positive 8. So all we need to do is to substitute in the formula, which is b squared negative 4ac. So all we need to do is to substitute. So since b is 5, we're going to have 5 all squared negative 4 times a, which is 1, and c, which is 8. So 5 squared is going to give us 25, and negative 4 times 1 is going to give us negative 4 times 8, which is going to give us negative 32. So 25 negative 32 is going to give us a negative 7. So moving on, we could therefore say that the discriminant of the function is negative 7. We take another question. You could pause the video and attempt this by yourself. That's on your own. Question number 2 says a quadratic function is given by 2x squared negative 4x negative 7 equal to 0. Determine the discriminant of the function. So all we need to do is to compare, just as the other. So in this case, a is going to be 2, b is going to be negative 4, and c, which is the constant, is going to be negative 7. So substituting negative 4 all squared, because b is negative 4 times a, which is 2, times c, which is negative 7. So negative 4 all squared is going to give us a positive 16. Negative squared is going to give us a positive. Then so we have 16. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8 times negative 7. That's going to give us a positive 56. So we can add the two values. 56 plus 16 is going to give us a 72. Hence, the discriminant of the function is 72. Option B is the right answer. So for question number 3, you could also pause the video and attempt this question. It goes like this. The function h of x is equal to 4x squared negative 12x plus 7 for all real x. It is given that h of x is equal to 3. Determine the discriminant of the function. So all we need to do is to compare, just as usual. So a in this case is going to be 4, b is going to be negative 12, and c is going to be 7. That is if this was 0, but this is equal to 3. So we got to write it out. We got to compare it. So we're going to have 4x squared negative 12x plus 7 equal to 3, since h of x is equal to 3. And remember that the general form is ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So we don't have the right to say that c is 0, because this outside that's on the right hand side of this equation is 3. So we gotta move it to the left hand side, so that we'll just have 0 on the right. So if we move it to the left hand side, we'll have 7 negative 3, which is positive 4. So hence we now have 4x squared negative 12x plus 4 equal to 0. So comparing, we can now see that a is 4, b is negative 12, and c is positive 4. So substituting, we'll have negative 12 all squared, because b is negative 12, all squared negative 4 times a is 4, times c, which is still 4. So negative 12 all squared is going to give us a positive 144. Negative 4 times 4 is 16 times 4, and that's I think that should be negative 64. So 144 minus 64 should be giving us an 80. So you could say that the discriminant of the function is 80. Question number 4 says a quadratic equation is given by 2x negative 3 times x negative 4 equal to 0. The discriminant of the quadratic function is a 25, b negative 71, c 217, d negative 24, e none. Please do well to pause this video to test, and that's kind of like a practice to test what you've been learning from the beginning part of this video. So all we need to do is to expand this stuff so that it will conform to the general quadratic form. So on expansion of that, we're going to multiply this, that's this times this, that's x times 2x negative 3, negative 4 times 2x negative 3, that's the expansion. So 2x times x is going to give us 2x squared. X times negative 3 is going to give us negative 3x. Negative 4 times 2x is going to give us negative 8x, and negative 4 times negative 3 is going to give us a positive 12. So 2x squared, negative 3x, negative 8x plus 12. So negative 3, negative 8 is a negative 11. So we have 2x squared, negative 11x plus 12 equal to 0. So comparing, in this case, a will be 2, b will be negative 11, and c will be positive 12. So all we need to do is to substitute in b squared negative 4ac. That's all. So substituting negative 11 all squared, negative 4 times a, which is 2 times c, which is 12. So negative 11 all squared is going to give us 121. Negative 4 times 2, that's 8 times 12. 8 times 12 is 96. So the discriminant of the function is basically 121 negative 96, and that's going to give us 25. So the correct option is D. So we'll take another question. And this question is for you. I encourage you to drop the answer to this question in the comment section. I want you to try it, and then let me hear your answers in the comment section from all you've learned today by comparing with the general form ax squared plus bx plus c and substituting in the formula b squared negative 4. See, I want you to get the answer to this. And the question is, given that, when 5x negative 6 multiplies, when 5x negative 6 multiplies 3x negative 4, a function g of x is formed. It is given that g of x is equal to 3. Determine the discriminant of the quadratic equation that has been formulated. Please do well to drop your answers in the comment section. And thanks for watching this video, and I hope that you have learned the easy way, that's the step taken towards determining the discriminant of a quadratic function, or let's say a quadratic equation. Thanks for watching this video. See you next time.